Hello and welcome to Morehouse's Math Menagerie. Today we're going to be talking about cumulative relative frequency graphs. Now, that's quite the name for a graph, but it gives us a few keys as to what it is. The first thing it tells us here is that we're dealing with relative frequencies. And you will recall from previous conversations that relative frequencies often refer to percentages in statistics. And the idea that we're going to have a cumulative percentages tells us that we're probably going to be dealing with percentiles. Now, on a side note, this graph has an interesting name that some people call it an oglive or an oglivy. You'll see that in some of the books, but most frequently it is referred to as a cumulative relative frequency graph. This is what a cumulative relative frequency graph looks like. On the x-axis, we have our variable, which for today is going to be EOC scores for an AP statistics class. You can see those scores range from somewhere around 17 or so up into the low 90s. Now on the y-axis, we have our cumulative relative frequencies. So these are percentages. You'll notice it goes from 0 to 100. And how we read this is, let's look at 20% here, 0.2. So at 20%, if we follow that across to the graph and then we drop down, you can see that it's somewhere around 38, 39 in there. So we could say that 20% of the students scored at or below 39 on the exam. And if 20% of them scored below 38 or 39, then we could also claim that 80% of them scored above. Now we can use this to answer various questions. For instance, let's say somebody asked us, what is the median of this distribution? Well, the median of a distribution is also the 50th percentile. So if we started here around the 50, kind of have to estimate it a little bit and draw a line across. I know my line is really nice. You know, if your lines aren't as nice as this, don't feel bad. I've practiced a lot. And then we're going to go down from the graph, and we're going to see here we get somewhere around 66 or 67. So we could claim the median is around 67 for this test. Now, another common question that is asked is for us to take a score and find its percentile. So let's say a student scored a 61 on the exam, and they would like to know what percentile they fall in. Well, we can go from 61, draw a line straight up to our graph, and then draw a line across to where it hits. And this would say, oh, we're about in the 43rd approximately, so we're not exact here because we're looking at a graph, percentile. The last type of question is just the reverse of the previous one. If we're given a percentile, can we find the score? So for instance, the 75th percentile, what score would a student have to have in order to be in the 75th percentile? Well, here we could estimate 75 is right around here. We could go across to our graph and then drop down. And this looks to be around 77 or so. So we could say a student would have to score around a 77 on this exam in order to be in the 75th percentile. All right, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day.